Set aside, a few hours or half a day, set aside all distractions, lock yourself in a room, whatever it takes, but really spend the time to invest wisely into this, because long term, it's going to be your guiding North Star. It's going to help you every step along your journey if you're very clear and you believe in your core values. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video, I'm going to be discussing with you core values, the importance of them, as well as how to discover your core values if you've never really taken the time to just sit down and really focus on who you are and who you want to become. Now, this entire discussion is really just inspired by an exercise that I make a lot of my wholesaler team do, as well as all my one-on-one coaching clients in my high-end mastermind called the Council. We also really strongly encourage them to go through this exercise, and all the steps that we're going to discuss in today's exercise, I'll actually link to a forum post on the CashFlow Tribe website as well, so you guys can jump over and check out that entire forum post. But really, this is a really important subject matter that a lot of people overlook. And it's unfortunate because I find most people kind of stumble through life with, really no core values, no core life philosophy, or at best, if they do have a core life philosophy or set of values, it's almost always been just kind of dictated to them by a previous generation, by some sort of religious belief, some sort of cultural beliefs. And we've never really sat down and just focus on who are we, what do we want, and really what are our core values. So I've actually shot an entire video on this subject matter already in the past, talking about my own core values, and I'll just touch upon them briefly here. But my core word stands for impact, and impact is made up of continuous improvement. So that's the I, is improvement. Then we've got the M, which is we're a movement. So we're more than just a company. Then the P is performance oriented. So results matter. Then moving on to the A, agile, move fast and break things. We stole that from Mark Zuckerberg. Then moving on to the C, we're a click. So again, we're more than just a group of friends. We're more than just a group of employees together. We really are a tight bound community. And that to me really represents the word click. And then finally, T. And so we've actually flip-flopped in the past, or I flip-flopped in the past in regards to whether T stands for transparency or truth. These days, I actually kind of consider it to stand for both, because while they may sound very similar, I've actually with time discovered that there's subtle differences that I really need to be able to both communicate to myself as well as my team. So impact is my core word, and it's made up of those core values. And the reason that's important, the reason that's valuable is I really like to think of all of us as kind of taking on our own hero's journey. And so if you guys have never studied or heard of Joseph Campbell, I really encourage you to check out the hero's journey or the hero's arc. But for a lot of us, we just kind of stumble out of post-secondary education and we're like, okay, it's the real world now. I guess I go get a job, and maybe once I get a couple of promotions, I'll figure out everything else afterwards. I think that's a really unfortunate way to approach life. But again, no one's really showing us a better path. And I think one of the real steps towards that better path is getting very clear on who you are and what your core values are. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through a handful of exercises that I really hope will give you better perspective in regards to who you are and what your core values are. All right, before we move on to the actual exercises, just a few more words on the concept of core values I wanted to share with you. So in my opinion, your core values really drive your behavior. They outline your personal code of conduct. Fulfillment is really found when we are living in alignment with our core values. These may evolve as you grow as a person as well. So again, impact used to be represented by slightly different words and different core values for myself. And so with time, I've been tweaking them. This is an iterative process, like almost everything in life. It's not like you need to set out the perfect set of core values and now you're beholden to them for life. Life is an iterative process, so should be your core values. But when we're thinking about our core values, think about what are your core values? What do you stand for? What is your unique individual essence? And so now let's jump into some actual exercises that I believe should hopefully help you find your way when trying to find your core values. So step one, what I want you to do is create what we call a heroes list. So list at least 3 people you admire and 3 qualities or values that come to mind when you think of each of them. So for myself, when I'm maybe writing out a heroes list, it might look like Elon Musk. Kevin Hart, Joe Rogan, for example. Those are three guys that I really admire and aspire to be like. And then I would simply look at, what core words or core values come to mind when I think of those individuals. Take your time. Again, I really encourage everyone that's going to undertake this exercise, set aside, a few hours or half a day, set aside all distractions, lock yourself in a room, whatever it takes, but really spend the time to invest wisely into this, because long term, it's going to be your guiding North Star. It's going to help you every step along your journey if you're very clear and you believe in your core values. Step 2, let's look at peak experiences. So think of a meaningful moment, a peak experience that stands out. What was going on? What feelings did you experience? And what values were you representing in that moment? For myself, a peak experience that immediately comes to mind is the Las Vegas entrepreneur experience. That was probably one of the highest highs I've ever had in my entire life. Stone cold sober on a Sunday night. I remember just the adrenaline and the energy and just all that, knowing that we'd pulled off that successful weekend. If you guys don't remember, that essentially was a private mastermind we held back in 2018, where myself and Jeff Weibel rented out, or we bought out a boutique hotel in Las Vegas, a 63-room hotel, and turned it into our private playground for real estate investors and entrepreneurs. And the sense of satisfaction and the sense of excitement I got from that experience just really helped highlight to me what some of my core values were. It was really special bringing together all those elite individuals, those people that are pushing themselves outside their comfort zone, constantly growing and evolving as individuals. And in part, that's what led to the idea of continuous improvement, as well as the idea of a clique. Again, this isn't just a community where anyone can join. This is a clique. It takes work and effort and sacrifice to really get into this clique. Now, step 3. This is one that I find a lot of people overlook when they're thinking about their core values, but it's just as important. Suppressed values. So think of a time you were angry, frustrated, or upset. What was going on? What feelings did you experience? What values were you in conflict with? And so those times that you were really frustrated, really angry, really upset, odds are you were in conflict with some or several of your core values. So again, let's take a step back and think about a time that you really felt powerless or frustrated or upset. Again, a few come to mind for me, and a few of them that really stand out is the individual I was interacting with wasn't acting in a truthful or transparent manner. And that caused a lot of conflict for me and a lot of second guessing myself. And so, if I simply would have spent the time before that incident to sit down and get clear on my core values, I would have known in that moment to just bulldoze through that person's objections and be like, nope, I have to act always with truth and transparency. And again, that's the value in understanding really who you are and what your core values are. Step 4. Now, we'll throw it up on the screen here, but essentially review a giant list of values. You can just Google it and you'll find all sorts of different lists of words or concepts or values that you can go through, but essentially highlight as many of the values as stand out to you. And don't worry about how many you highlight at first. Just select everything that resonates or feels important to you. Once you've gone through a list of a couple hundred values and you've highlighted the ones that really matter to you, then what I want you to do is group all similar values. So this is going to be step 5 together from the various values you've identified so far. Group them in ways that make sense to you. So we're going to kind of find buckets. And so maybe you put like hard work and dedication, going the extra mile as some core values of yourself. Well, I could certainly understand or appreciate how someone might view those as very similar. And so maybe those go into one bucket. But again, it's a very personal choice. There's no right or wrong answer here. You just need to be true to yourself. So then create a maximum, ideally, of 6 groupings. And if you've got more than 6 groupings, drop the least important groupings to you. Finally, step 6. Choose one word from each grouping that best represents the label for your entire grouping or that best represents you as an individual. And then finally, this is a bonus exercise that I didn't actually include in the original forum post, but I really encourage you, once you get clarity on what your core values are, create a slogan, create a word, create some sort of, mantra or motto that you will easily remember, that will always bring it top of mind. So for me, it was taking my 6 core values and kind of fitting them into that core word of impact. For me, impact is the same thing as legacy. And so if you guys have been following my content for any length of time, you've probably heard me make the joke that my definition of legacy is how many people show up at my funeral, and ideally having scalpers at my funeral. The whole concept there being that I've made such an impact, I've created such a legacy that people want to come out and just show their respects. And again, without understanding what my core values are, without creating a core word or slogan or motto or mantra around that concept, it'd be really easy for me to forget it or for it to become watered down or bastardized with time. So again, it's really important you find a way to keep it top of mind. And in fact, we'll show you guys a little clip, but I've actually got a gratitude wall in one of our set locations, and it's actually behind the camera right now, but it's got the word impact lined out. And then what I've done is actually print off positive comments, cards we get, and every week we put up 1 or 2 on the board. It's a newer concept, so it's not overflowing right now, but essentially just reminding myself and my team of the impact that we're having every single day with the content we create. And I hope that by sharing with you guys this core values exercise, that this will impact you as well. Because I know I gained so much personal clarity towards who I am and what I want to accomplish when I sat down and took the time to complete a few core value exercises. So again, we'll throw a link to the exact forum post I'm talking about, and I'd really love to hear from you guys. Have you spent some time in the past to get clarity on what your core values are? Do you have a core word, a motto, a mantra? Let us know in the comment section down below, because I always love just checking out other people's perspectives, seeing their core values, and getting a better understanding. And I certainly know that if you spend the time to invest to understand your core values, you'll understand yourself a lot better as well. So really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you got value from this video, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Again, let me know in the comment section, what are your core word or your core values? Thanks, guys.